Okay, I see that you're having trouble finding what you want to use. Um, I hope you do find my videos helpful, and if you do, that's a good thing. I really haven't updated them in a while, and I plan on fixing that real quick. Uh, I just need to get as far as I can with I forget what it's called right now. It's called that video editing program for Linux done by Heroin. Uh, but whatever it's called at the moment, really, I'm trying to focus on what you're doing. And what you're doing is you're trying to find something that has a piano roll that is non-destructive and isn't primitive, and you can do effects with and do this with and that with. Let me tell you, bro. I don't mean to put a damper on your parade, but you're not gonna find one program that does all of that. The closest you're gonna find that does everything in one program is LMMS, excuse me, the Linux Multimedia System. That's a good program. Don't get me wrong. They're working hard on it and they're getting it together. But if what you want to work on is what they call drumming and bass and things like that, and having percussive stuff going on, you're not gonna get far. You're not gonna get far. I mean, other than hydrogen, what you're looking at is Jack Beat. Jack Beat has a nice little, a drum thing going on, but it's not great. It's basically pattern based, and it's for people who want to do simple little drum beats. The best way for me to explain what's going on is to explain to you that when the Yoon mind of Linux, the communities who got together, they decided that there was nothing going on in audio that was mature enough to be considered what people should be using. So they came up with the idea of having Jack, so that every program, no matter how infantile, if it did one thing well, you could use that. So right now what you want to do is use hydrogen, and if there's anything about hydrogen that you don't think is mature enough, you need to connect it through Jack to another program that does it better. If you don't like Jack's piano roll, then you should be using Rose Gardens or Muse. Muse hasn't been updated since 2005. So, I mean, really, that kind of leaves Rose Garden. So, what you should do is go ahead and use Rose Garden and use Rose Garden's piano roll to sequence what's going on in hydrogen. Look, I don't know if you've ever used anything like FL Studio, but basically, I did everything I used to do in FL Studio. I've completely replaced it with Linux apps, and I connect them together through Jack. I mean, if you need anything else, the only thing I can tell you is to use Tape2 from I forget the French guy's name, but Tape U2. TAPEUTAPE. All right, and if you use that, I've never gotten myself. I've never been able to compile it, really. I've tried over and over and over again, but I couldn't. Um, so you should look at that. But really, I don't think there's anything that's going to be one app that'll do what you want. But if you're looking to do pro audio in Linux and you're trying to use one app, it's a no-go from the beginning. What you should be thinking about using is a combination of apps that do everything you need to do. For instance, I'll create a drum pattern in hydrogen, then I'll go and I'll save it as a hydrogen file and open that file in Rose Garden. And Rose Garden will connect all of that stuff. It will connect. It will connect itself to hydrogen automatically, and it'll map everything out to its piano roll, and you can tweak everything from there and get it exactly the way you want it. And its piano roll to me is much better than hydrogen's piano roll. And then once you're there, you can tell. You can open up Zen Sub Effects or a Linux sampler, and you can open up those and lay down your melodies in Rose Garden. You can connect your MIDI controller to Rose Garden and that particular track to Zen Sub Effects and lay down your melodies. And you can have a bunch of different instances of Zen Sub Effects or Rose Garden in Rose Garden or Linux sampler, and do everything you need to do there. If you have Wine, you can go ahead and connect the host to some VSTs and run those. But the thing you got to realize is that if you're looking for one particular app that does everything, then there's nothing mature enough. The closest thing I would say is Energy XT, and it's pretty cool, but not for me. So unless you're considering Wine, which is an alternative, you can upload. You can work with Reason 3. What's that other one? Reaper. And those will help you out a lot. But even though they say there's no performance hit, there's a hit as far as, because performance-wise it works well, but there's a hit as far as the translation between GUI, and that can be a pain in the butt. And you have to use Jack, and Jack can get kind of confusing when you're messing with Jack ASIO and trying to get the program to work, and the windows don't trace draw right. It becomes a pain in the butt. I'd rather use Linux DAWs, Linux effects, and everything that comes with it. So if I were you, I would be using Hydrogen 2 along with Rose Garden to sequence, and using LabSpa effects. That would be the best thing you could do if you're looking to do like drumming and bass and whatnot. There is an alternative out there with Taper 2. I've never used it. It never looked good to me. Maybe it's just a GUI. Maybe it's a great program, but I've never been able to get it to compile on my machine. And I don't know what I'm doing wrong. The guy is French. Maybe the instructions are bad. But, you can look at that. Taper 2. I hope this is helpful to you in some way. And let me know if it's not. Maybe there's something else I can do to help out. But really, when you're looking at Linux, when the idea of first doing audio was there, everybody knew all the programs were too young and there's not enough money really to sink into doing anything. So everybody uses Jack to connect the best features of every program. And since it's Linux, programs are pretty light on your processor, programs are pretty light on your RAM, and you can open up 4 or 5 programs and connect them all in Jack and not have much of a problem. So please consider that. And if you need any advice, I'll be more than willing to help you out, because I'm in the studio all the time, in my little home studio. I'm here doing music all the time. If there's any questions, I'll let you know to the best of my ability. Alright? Good luck, brother.